Here it is. Here's the tweet. If you could build the perfect Rocket League player, who would fit in each category? AnnoSpot has made categories for the perfect player. The first one is mechanics. He's gone with Zen/Joyo. Second one is game sense. He's gone with AppJack. The third one is defensive skills. He's gone with Ruas. Offensive skills is next. He's gone with Seiko. Mental toughness. He's gone with Rise. Adaptability. He's gone with Vatira. And leadership. He's gone for AppJack again. So AppJack, 2 out of the 7 categories on the perfect player here in the original idea. But yeah, really, really cool idea. I like the idea. I wanted to give this a go. I've been thinking about it. I've done a little bit of prep. I've done a little bit of, looking through some of the categories need a little bit, I think, of history, and the other ones are more current. So stuff like adaptability, I did a little bit of looking over old results to see who truly has been adaptable. But I have one amendment actually to start off the stream with today. I have one amendment to the perfect player, and that is that I don't think leadership should be a quality that we, audience, speculate on. I don't think it's really as worthwhile. I mean, obviously it is worthwhile, but I don't think it's as worthwhile as other things. So I'm going to remove that from my own perfect player criteria. If other people want to keep it in, obviously they can keep it in. But I'm taking leadership out, and I'm going to replace it with the thing that I think is most missing, that is consistency. So I guess, hold on, let me just get... I'll just write all this on the screen so we can see if you guys agree. So the categories are going to be... We're keeping mechanics. Oh, this is really, really stretched. Hold on, let me show you what I've got here. Yeah, that's not what that's supposed to do at all. I don't know how I've managed that. No. So we want mechanics, obviously. One of the most important things. Oh, no, it's too small. Let me show you what I've done. I'm not having a good time here. That's too small. Anyway, these are the categories I'm going to go for. I'm leaving all of them the same except the last one. I like mechanics. I like game sense. What else did we have? We had offensive skill. We had defensive skill. Then we had mental toughness. I like that as a description, kind of the mentality aspect of the game. If you did this with T-Bates, you'd get as many views as you could possibly get. Yeah, I mean, I don't think T-Bates and I would disagree too much on this, honestly. You might be surprised. I don't think we would really disagree as much as you think. I mean, you guys can let me know as we go here if T-Bates would disagree. We'd disagree in some things for sure, but maybe not too much. Adaptability, that's the first one that I think needs a real explanation. And then consistency. I'm going to switch consistency in instead of leadership, right? Yeah, I took out leadership because I think leadership is like way too speculative. We don't really know much about really who's leading the team behind the scenes. Most of that's behind the scenes, and maybe you get a rough idea of that from listening to a team comms video or hearing a coach interview or whatever. But I think it's mostly speculation and honestly an overrated skill in Rocket League. Rocket League's not a game with like shot calling. It's not a game with like really too many true examples for leadership to be used. It's probably just falls more into the mental toughness category, whereas consistency is everything. So I want consistency to be a factor. Do you guys think anything else should be added, or are you happy with this? I'm pretty happy with this personally. We are talking about 3v3 mechanics. We're not talking about freestyling. We're not talking about 1v1. We're talking about 3v3. Now, obviously, there is a little bit of crossover. Some things that are good in freestyling are also good in 3v3. Some things that are good in 1v1 are also good in 3v3. We're mainly talking about 3v3 ability here. Creativity kind of falls a little bit into offensive skill. That's an element of offensive skill, I would say, is creativity. Boost management, efficiency, and all these things, that's kind of just mechanics. I like a lot of your guys' ideas, but I think these are good. Let's hone in on mechanics first of all. So let's hone in on mechanics. We'll do them one by one, and then we'll have at the end the big breakdown of each one of them. So I'm gonna say 5 candidates for each thing. That's like how I want to do this. I've thought of a few. And a few more I'm just gonna kind of do on the fly, and I'm open to suggestions. If you guys think I've forgotten someone, then we can obviously add them in. But yeah, this is how we're gonna go for this. We're gonna make it a bit bigger here. Okay, so mechanics. top 5 mechanical players in no particular order. We can reorder them. Well, actually, I guess we could do them in order, but it's a bit much. It's probably a bit difficult. Yeah, I think that some that will not be any question are Zen and Naupo are obviously in the top 5 mechanics for 3v3. And then I think as well, I would probably go with like another one that I think is a no-brainer is Drally. And then I also want to say Rawas. I also want to say Daniel. I think these are when I think mechanics, just all around mechanics, and I mean, the kind of flashy mechanics, the consistent mechanics, the just everything fundamentals, and everything else. These are the first 5 that come to mind. And the only guy that I feel if I could add another one in would be if I could add a 6th one, it would be Jan. Maybe I'll add a 6th one for this because he's kind of in the conversation as well. I think Jan is my next. That's like maybe we don't need 5 every time. These are my 6 candidates for mechanics. Yeah, a lot of people saying stuff like Dark. I don't think Dark's 3v3 mechanics are proven enough yet. He's obviously very good. Let me turn the chat on as well so you guys can see yourselves spamming. I don't think Dark's proven himself in 3v3 yet to be really discussed in this. Joyo, yeah, obviously an incredibly mechanical player, but I think he falls a little bit short of these guys in just the brute force mechanics. Similar thing with LJ. I think LJ, Joyo, obviously they can score some unbelievable goals, but if we're talking pure mechanics, I mean it's everything. It's movement, it's efficiency, it's stuff like 50-50s is mechanical, like believe it or not, and just simply hitting the ball really hard. Yes, flip resets and all that stuff. They're all mechanical. Like I just think all mechanics involved. I think these are my guys that I think are the candidates. A couple people saying Clears. Yeah, Clears obviously is super mechanical as well. TRK is super mechanical. You got Beast Mode is super mechanical, but I think they all don't make the. I don't think they're quite at the level that these guys on the screen are at. Like you got Farskiller, you got Vatira, you got Atto, but again, we can't just write down 15 names. I'm gonna stick in the kind of 4 to 6 range for like the candidates. Oh, I'm also gonna make one more rule for myself in this perfect player discussion. I'm not allowed to use the same player twice. But I'm gonna use the ace right now. I think that the most mechanical player, and if I was gonna build the perfect player, whose mechanics would I want? No controversy here. I would want Zen. That's who I want. I want Zen's mechanics. I'm sorry. That's whose mechanics I want. I don't want anyone else's mechanics. If I can only building the perfect player, the guy whose mechanics I want the most, I want Zen. Give me Zen. Yeah. I don't think I need to defend that take. I think it's pretty obvious. I think he's the most mechanical player. And I think mechanics are super important. So if I'm only allowed to use Zen once, I'm taking his mechanics. Give me his mechanics. Okay. Yeah, that's who I want for mechanics. I want Zen. Chat, who do we want for game sense? Who makes the shortlist for game sense? Yeah, one that I definitely agree with straight away is Monkey Moon. Great suggestion from chat. Another one that I absolutely agree with is Itachi. You guys are kind of like, we're mind melding a little bit here, because another one that you guys are all spamming that I definitely agree with is TRK. He's definitely making my shortlist for game sense. And I kind of want to go as well with Beast Mode. I think Beast Mode reads the game ridiculously well. Okay, we got one more slot. You know what? We can't pick him, but he's on the shortlist. If we're talking game sense, Zen's got to be up there. We can't pick him, but he's definitely top 5 game sense. I mean, come on. Am I wrong? Am I really wrong? I think he's probably top 5. He's kind of just ridiculous. I think it's just true. I think it's just true. Anyway, we can't pick him. I'm going to pick one of the other ones here, one of the other players. I think, I mean, when it comes to game sense, I feel like it's got to be the guy who has pretty much established the meta that everybody's playing in pro play right now. You know, he just seems to be in the right place all the time when he's on farm. And obviously, when we're just talking pure game sense, form doesn't matter. We're just talking about who has the best game sense, excluding everything else. And I think it's probably Monkeyman. It's probably Monkeyman or Itachi. But, spoiler alert, I'm going to save Itachi for later. I'm going to go for Monkeyman here. I know that's a spoiler, but I'm going to go for Monkeyman. I don't think that's controversial at all. I think Monkeyman's game sense is unreal. So you've got to have him in there. I think you just got to put him in. Yeah, I might have spoiled there the Itachi, but it's not really a spoiler, is it? It's not really a spoiler. He's class, isn't he? He's just incredible. Let's talk about offensive skill. Who do you guys think the candidates are for offense? Just pure offensive skill. Who do you want on the ball to outplay people, to score goals, to set up their teammates, to just get good plays going in offense? Who do you want? I feel like there's some no-brainers here. I feel like some players just make the cut by default. I mean, let's not mess around. Zen's going to be in this one as well. We can't pick him, but he's definitely going to be in this one. Let's just let's be honest for a second here. I think Zen's top 5 in every category. Hey, am I glazing? Maybe. Is he top 5 in every category? Definitely this one. But another one that I think just absolutely has to be in here is Jan. Like, when we're talking all-time offensive power, who do you think of when you say offense? The all-round offense. It's Jan. He is not just all-time, though, currently as well. One of the most unstoppable players to play the game. So I've got to say Jan for offense. I'm also gonna throw into this one for me this is just another obvious one, is LJ. When you're talking pure offense, actually he's a lowercase j, isn't it? I always forget that. When you're talking pure offense, I mean the guy just scores goals, and they're good goals as well. He's very good at scoring against teams who they're expected to win against, and he punches up pretty well also when in matches where they're the underdog, he still scores goals. He gets goals. That's his main offensive thing that he's known for, is like the goals he scores, obviously, but he is good at other aspects of offense as well, but absolutely deserves, I think, to be one of the candidates here. Another no-brainer for me is Clears. He's, since he came onto the RLCS scene, been pretty much unstoppable when it comes to offense. I think he's been pretty unstoppable. So I'm gonna say Clears. And there's so many players, like I said, you could use 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You could have so many people, but if I have to pick, I'm gonna pick one more. I've already given Naupo a shout in the mechanics shortlist. I'm gonna pick a player. I'm gonna put a player down here that I've not written down yet. That is Atto. They've been struggling recently a bit, Carmine Corp, but if you look back to the first online split and even LAN, the entire first split, Atto was tearing everybody apart, completely unstoppable. A lot of people saying beast mode FK. They're definitely, I'd say, up there. But when I think pure offensive unstoppable force, they're not at they don't go ahead of the names I've written for me. They don't go ahead of the names I've written. They're like maybe in the top 10 conversation though. I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot of names. Offense is maybe like one of the most. I think it's one of the most sought after titles. Who is the best offensive player? People want to be like known for that, and fans want their favorite player to be known for that. I mean, Beast Mode's offense is crazy, but would I say that if I need an outplay and I need it right now, am I gonna give Beast Mode the ball instead of Zen? I don't think so. Jan, again, I don't think so. LJ, I feel like he just deserves a shout here. LJ does. With the individual like offense that he brings. Clears, same thing. I mean, these are some just one-man wrecking ball kind of offensive talents. But Beast Mode brings a lot more to the table. I mean, Beast Mode, I already put him down for the game sense. You know, he just reads the game so well. And like when it comes, maybe like team play should be. I don't know if team play should be a category here. I'm not going to add more categories right now, but I think Beast Mode's strengths are not as obviously just offense as these guys are. That's just my opinion. But okay, if I've got to pick one of these guys to go onto the actual shortlist, I mean, it's got. Maybe this is a bit. Is it recency bias if we're just talking the entire season that we're playing right now? I'll tell you, it's between like. Remember, I can't pick Zen. Zen's already been chosen, so I can't pick him. But recency bias says Clears, like this season and last season only. But if we're looking at the 3, 4, is it even a 5-season resume that he's got? I think it might be 4 years now. Jan is definitely like the legacy pick and current as well. So I'm a bit torn, honestly. I think I think I'm going to go for Jan because right now, yes, Kalir's team has been playing better than Jan's team, and Falcons, I think, have been the best offensive team this season, and right now they're considered the best offensive team, and Kalir's is the best offensive player. But I think the whole team Falcons contribute to that a bit more than Jan's whole team does. Whereas Jan, I mean, he's been just so many different variations of rosters playing with Card, Kaio. Even before that, I forget the team he played for. Who did Jan play for before he joined Card and Kaio again? He was on another top Sam team. I've forgotten the name. Rebel, was it Rebel? That rings a bell. And he was outrageous on Rebel as well. He was just 1v3ing. And then he 1v3'd like other RLCS level teams on LAN 2 years ago. He's still doing it to this day. So I think Jan, for me, I'm going to give him the shout. Offensive, just pure offensive skill. Yeah, Jan you can't go wrong with Jan. Okay. Defensive skill. Let's just switch this a little bit to Def. Who do you guys want for defensive? I mean, you're all saying it. We'll just put his name down. Rawas is obviously in there. I think another name that is just immediately added is Daniel. Not Daniel. Daniel. They're the two that jump to my mind immediately when it comes to defensive skill. I mean, let's not fool around. Obviously, you can't have Zen in there, and you can't pick him. We've already picked him, but Zen's obviously a top 5 defensive player. In my opinion, he is. I'm actually not joking. That's true. He's been in every category so far, but it's true. I think he actually is just top 5 in mechanics, game sense, offense, and defense right now. No joke. And other ones I want to put in here are, I'm going to say Vatira. I don't think that's controversial. And I've seen a few people write as well. I'm going to put Seiko. I think this is your short list for defensive skill. They're all phenomenal third men for their teams when they need to be. Just, the guys you want in defense to hold it down while the rest of the team is out of the game. Right here. These are the guys you want, I reckon. Have we missed anyone? I don't think so. No one else really comes to mind on this level, like the level in the guys we're talking about right now on the screen. I think since we can't pick Zen, I would consider Zen, but I'm not picking Zen. And I don't think he would win this one. For me, defensive skill, this is between 2 players right now. And those 2 players are Rawas and Daniel. I think they are the top. Well, they are at the top of my recommendations. And the reason for that is pretty easy to explain. Rawas, no brainer. He is often called the best defender in the world. How much of his 1v1 defense contributes to that kind of title that he gets called, I don't know. But especially since he started playing 3s RLCS as well, he's shown that is very much his style in 3s. You can be just a brick wall in defense. However, I think Daniel deserves to be in the conversation as well because G2, in my opinion right now, are the best team defensively. I think that Falcons have more defensive weaknesses, and how much of that you could put down to their lack of mental toughness perhaps in London is up to you. How much of it you want to attribute to lack of mental toughness or how little. That's another discussion. But I think there's no doubt G2 are the best defensive team. Is that a controversial statement? Two in chat if you disagree with that. I think G2's defense is probably the best. And Daniel's their best defender, so therefore I think he deserves a shout. But I still think if I want one player, if I can only pick one here, who are you most comfortable with when the whole team's out of the game, the camera pans across to one defender in a 1v2 or a 1v3 or just in a 1v1? I think there is still just that different level that I'm going to say Rawas brings to the table. I think he just for now just still has that, as the kids say, aura about him. He's just making saves nobody else is making. He's dodging air dribble bumps that nobody else is dodging, and he's making offenses look silly in a way that nobody else is doing. But it is very close. I think Daniel Rawas are both very good picks here. I'd be happy with either of them, but I'm leaning Rawas still. Because I think G2 are the best defense in the world, and I think Daniel's their best defender. I think Rawas has more of the heavy lifting for Falcons, who are still very good defensively. They're not as, I think, good as a team at defense as G2 are, but Rawas does a heavy load for that team, and that's why I would have to go with him here. Okay, on to mental toughness. Who do you guys want on the shortlist for mental toughness? Yeah, a couple of good suggestions already. One that's been probably spammed the most is Rise, and I agree. One that I'm really surprised not many of you have been spamming. I mean, it's got to be Zen. Did you guys see him rallying the crowd in London when his team were down and out? Nah, I'm not actually putting Zen in this one. I think he's not faced enough difficulty yet to be in the same conversation as the rest of them. He's had it easy. They've just been winning most of his career. But he's up there. Hey, I was impressed with his London mental toughness when they were down and out in the quarterfinals, and he was rallying the troops when they were losing in Copenhagen to G2, and he practically 1v3'd. He's definitely got some mental toughness, but I'm not going to put him in the top 5 for the first time. I know, controversial, not picking 10 here. But I also want to say Beast Mode. Not only, I mean, this might be a little bit, I said earlier on I was going to talk about 3v3 mainly, but I want to also mention that when it comes to mental toughness, we cannot forget Beast Mode stepping up to play 1v1 at Gamers 8 when Daniel couldn't play 1v1 up to the level that G2 needed him to. Beast Mode's like, yeah, you know what? I can play ones against some of the best players in the world. That's outrageous, and he done well as well. He was phenomenal. So yeah, that's an interesting side note for Beast Mode. But I do think his main claim for mental toughness is just how impressive he is on LAN this season, and in high pressure series this season, he's able to just keep on chugging along. And then I'm also going to say the entire Gentlemates roster. It's actually Seiko and Juicy. I mean, when you want mental toughness, just look at these guys. I mean, what is going on? Online, they can't win an event. You put them in the most high pressure situation on LAN, all the pressure of the crowd, all the pressure of the prestige, and they are just simply better. They're able to produce their best games on LAN when pressure is at the highest. Now, when pressure is at the highest is when you need mental toughness. When you look at both of the LANs combined, they're the one team. I mean, they won the first one without dropping a series. They lost the next one in one of the greatest series of all time, Game 7 overtime. In semis. So I mean, they've been ridiculous. So I want to nominate the whole team. It might be, hey, you guys don't like it? That's too bad. You can keep spamming your L's. It's not going to stop me. In fact, I'm even going to put the coach in there as well. How you like that? Yeah, now you can't even see some of your L's because Eversax has covered them. But yeah, when I look at mental toughness, we also got to look at other seasons beyond this one. And I think, that's really where Rise shines. So Rise is definitely in the conversation. He's maybe not the most mental toughness for him recently, but right now he has. Or in previous seasons he has. But I think, mental toughness, when I just look at who is the guy when the pressure is reaching a climax, It's got to be Itachi. I mean, he just looks like he's completely relaxed. On stage, crowd making tons of noise for his team, against him. Doesn't matter to this guy. He's chilling, relaxed, he's calm. I mean, that's not easy. I hope you guys realize how difficult that is. You'd all be freaking out. And yeah, Seiko as well. These guys just, it's so ridiculous. When I look at their cameras, I'm like, what is going on? Where are these guys? How are they so calm? It doesn't make sense. So yeah, I think if I wanted to build the perfect player, whose mental toughness would I want? I would want Itachi, because he looks like he is just chilling. He's just chilling. Not worried. No pressure. He's just relaxed. So I think might be a bit recency bias on that one, but honestly I don't remember too many like crazy bad mental toughness level performances from him in the past. He's had some great results. Obviously won San Diego, won Copenhagen. Had a very impressive performance at Worlds the previous season to that, and the previous season to this one. I mean, he's been pretty tough mentally for a long time. Okay, let's move on to adaptability. When I'm thinking adaptability, I'm thinking two things. I'm thinking, can a player adapt to new teammates? And I'm thinking two, can a player adapt to a new playstyle? Because there are some players who have played in lots of different teams, but they've kind of just done the same thing on all those teams. They've not really been adapting. It's been their teammates who've adapted to them, at least as far as I can see. But there are some players who have very clearly altered their play style depending on what team they're on, in order to bring the best out of their teammates or to give their teammates more of what they want on the pitch. So that's really what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking who's done well with lots of different teams and who's actually done well with different play styles. And you guys are saying Appjack, which is one I agree with. I think Appjack's a great suggestion for this, and a good example of exactly what I mean. Appjack came into the scene in RLCS season X, really, and he was a really mechanical youngster at the time. Then he adapted more into being known for his game sense and his intelligence on the pitch, because he had the Dignitas season. Ended pretty badly, goes to NA, adapts to, I guess, a new region, dominates that region really, adapted to brand new teammates, Chronic and Nolly. Then he's playing with First Killer now, and with First Killer in the team, he's taking more of like the demo, off the ball role for that team, and I think he does it all very well. So, going from being a young mechanical player to being kind of a let's play more solidly, consistency, low 50, bot Fennec Merchant. Now he's like a demo main. Yeah, he's adapted very well, and he's had success in multiple different rosters. So I think you've got to give him a mention. Another player who I think has adapted their play style, and just looks really easy to play with for a couple of different teams, actually a few different teams that he's played on, is Atomic. I think Atomic is very adaptable. You look at what he used to do on Envy way back in the day with Turbo and Mist, and then you compare that to what he did when he played with Chicago and JNAPS, and then you look at what he's doing now with Beast Mode and Daniel. Very different types of teams there. He had to be the hard carry a lot of the time for the JNAPS and Chicago edition of G2. Now he doesn't have to do that anymore, and he looks every bit as effective, just being more of a support player at times, and setting up his teammates because they're both world-class players. But yeah, he's won events in RLCS Season X. He won events online in 2021. I think he won regionals. 2022, he won a LAN. 2024, now he's won another LAN. He's had a lot of success in lots of different teams, so I don't think that's going to be too tough of a nomination to defend there. I also want to say for adaptability, and this one might need a bit, I don't know if you guys are going to agree with this one, but I'm going to say TRK. Because TRK, when he first, played in MENA, he was hard carry for the main team. He actually played for Falcons before Falcons were the best team. They were the second best team when Sandrock were the best team. When he used to play for TRK, played for Falcons, he was the hard carry. He'd often be trying to 1v3 Ahmad, Khaled, Senzo, and he'd look like the best player on the pitch. Then he actually joined that team with Ahmad and Khaled, and with Khaled on the roster, TRK's defensive requirements were no longer as needed. He used to TRK when he first came onto the scene in Munich, he was like really a defensive player, but then he started to be more aggressive in the midfield with Khaled on the roster. Still does that today with the Twins, especially Rawas. But there have been a couple of times in even recent memory where TRK's needed to play more of a defensive role on the teams he's on. Think Ahmad and Senzo being his teammates in Stockholm. TRK took more of a defensive role in that team. Looked brilliant at it. He also had to do that when he played with Ahmad and Naupo. And he looked great at that as well. I think he can kind of just slot into any role. He can play first, second, third, very high level. And he's won events, dominated MENA for years. So he's got to be pretty adaptable there. This is actually a stat category. There's a lot of really, really interesting players to discuss in this one. But one that I want to say that I'm not adding in. You guys are all saying him right now. I'm not going to put him in, but you guys are saying Exotic. That's actually an interesting one because Exotic, for the longest time, wasn't on a top team, and then he finally landed on a top team, and he was, very effective doing what he does on Karmine Corp when he played with Itachi and Vatira. Did he show any adaptability to be good on that team? I would say no, because that was just him being him. But now he's adapted once. He plays BDS, and they're still really good. And he adapted to a more aggressive style. But, one adaptation just doesn't cut it for me. These guys, Jack, Atomic, TRK, so much more examples of adaptability, whereas Exotic's one example of adaptability switching from KC to BDS is very impressive. I will quickly say that. But I want to say, speaking of KC, I want to say Vatira. Because again, if you're talking about adaptability, who can play every role? Vatira can. He's one of the best thirds in the world. But if you need Vatira to ball chase, he can ball chase. If you want him to, follow up on a player like Joyo, he can do that as well. He played with Rise and Joyo, they won a LAN. He played with two extremely different players in Exotic and Itachi, they won a LAN again. Totally different playstyle, by the way. Totally different playstyle. Now this season, he's playing with Rise and Atto, again, totally different playstyle. Still, he can do it. I feel like Vatira, for me, just feels like he'll do anything to win. He's got winner mentality. He'll do whatever it takes to win. Whatever's working in the meta, whatever other teams are doing, that's what he's going to do. So yeah, adaptability, I think Vatira, for sure. I'm surprised that you guys don't like that as an option. When I think, he's kind of... Karmine Corp, when they were having success this year, were not playing the same style of Rocket League as everybody else was. They were air dribble bump spamming. No one else is really doing it to that level that they were. Yeah, Vatira's won so many events. He's made so many championship Sundays. He's made so many. You can't do that without being adaptable. I mean, he's done it with 6 different teammates over 3 seasons. Yeah, I think Vatira's one of the most adaptable players for sure. Last shout here. I think, has anybody said this? I've got one more slot here, but there's one player that really for me is underrated in terms of their adaptability, and I've seen a couple people mention him. And that player is actually Seiko. Who remembers Seiko when he first came onto the scene on Endpoint? Compare that version of Seiko to Seiko now. Completely different player. He was, the on the ball, leading the attack, double reset, in your net kind of player on Endpoint. And then he teamed with BDS, teamed with Monkey Moon, Extra. Didn't need to do that anymore. Didn't need to create solo goals. Didn't need to, solo carry to create opportunities for his team. He just slotted into a system of playing basic Rocket League, just solid Rocket League. And then now, last season when Rise joined the team, he had to take on more of a defensive role. Extra wasn't in the team anymore. Rise, a bit more of an aggressive player. Seiko just said, fine, no problem. I'm actually now one of the best thirds in the world. And he's still doing that to this day with Juicy and Itachi. I feel like Seiko is super adaptable, and he's had success with Metza and who was it again on a team? Relating Wave, teamed up with Extra and Monkey Moon, won Worlds, brought Rise in, came second at Worlds. Then they played with Itachi and Juicy, wins Copenhagen. I mean, all these guys on your screen have won events with multiple different rosters, obviously different levels of events, but all won really big, prestigious events, and they've all done it with different play styles, making their teammates around them look phenomenal on the pitch. So, who would you guys choose for this one if you wanted the most adaptable player? I think this one's extremely subjective, by the way. Extremely subjective. Some people will value a player who can play well in lots of different teams more than others. Some people will value a player who can play lots of different playstyles more than others. But for me, if I'm looking at both, the combination of both of those things, then I want Seiko. Because when you just look at what he is doing on all these different rosters, I mean, to be so incredibly effective. I mean, he's not just having decent results in all these different teams. He won Worlds with one of them, came second Worlds with the next, and then won Copenhagen with the next one. Like these are some completely different rosters. And well, I guess 1/3 different roster, and the half of his teammates were different for the second Worlds. But yeah, he is just able to adapt to whatever you throw at him. He's mechanical enough to play mechie roles. He's smart enough to play smart roles. He's selfless enough to prop up his teammates when they can do a bit more of the carrying, and when he needs to be. When his team aren't performing, he just says, no problem, give me the ball, I'll put it in the net. I can do that as well. He's Zen snubbed twice. Come on. Zen's only ever had one team. If there's one category we're not putting Zen in, it's adaptability. He's only ever had one team. Versatile, adaptability, similar kind of idea, right? But okay, last one. I did change this one to consistency. It wasn't consistency in the original, but I think consistency needs to be a category, and I don't like leadership, so I decided, okay, I'll switch one, because I don't want to switch too much. I want to keep it true to the original inspiration, but you can't have build a perfect player without consistency. So who do you guys want? Consistency. A lot of you are already saying a really good example. Actually, some of you are saying Monkeyman. I think Monkeyman's not consistent at all. Monkeyman has had some of the highest highs and lowest lows. I don't think Monkeyman is consistent. He's not consistent at all. Right now his team is dominating online and getting destroyed on LAN. But yeah, a team that are very consistent is G2, and their one player who is head and shoulders above the rest in terms of consistency is Beast Mode. I think he has to be on this one. He's been doing it for years as well. He's just been very consistently at the top, and rarely has a horrendous touch, rarely has a very bad day. In fact, I don't remember a super bad day for Beast Mode. Even when G2 are losing, I still think Beast Mode looks like he's the most effective player they've got, and I could say that about previous teams of Beast Mode as well. He's just for me, everything consistency needs, everything consistency should be. And let's bring him back. Let's talk about Zen. When you need consistency, how about a guy who has been consistently considered number 1 or 2 in the world ever since his debut, which is over a year ago now. He's been around for a year and a bit, and he's been consistently 1 or 2 that whole time. Again, rarely has a bad day. His bad days are some other players' best days, and his Zen's best days are a level that no one else has reached. So yeah, he is super consistent. He's always solid. He's always good. He's always great. And I'm unironically nominating him for this one as well, but I can't pick him because I've already picked him. I'm also going to nominate another player that I've picked already, who I think is mega consistent. That's Itachi. I think he needs a nomination on this one, but I can't pick him because I already did. So that's unfortunate for me. But Itachi, just Mr. Consistent right now. He has been just so clear, especially on LAN. Maybe I obviously think LAN is by far the most important thing. Online, this Gentleman's team can't win an event, but on LAN they are they're just the most consistent team, and Itachi's their most consistent player. So I'm putting Itachi in there. And yeah, you guys are a lot of you are saying him, and I agree. First killer. I mean, talk about consistency. When we're talking years of consistency, every single team he's on, he is consistent. I wouldn't say that he's adaptable. He's been successful in lots of different rosters, but I wouldn't say he's adaptable. I think that his teammates kind of need to adapt to him, but I do think he's super consistent. Stop saying fourth killer. That's harsh. So I think first killer, consistency. You guys are saying Vatira. I mean, Vatira right now, they've been in a bit of a slump. I don't know. Vatira is not cracking into the top 5 consistency right now. Maybe if they didn't have the absolute worst split of all time, I would have considered him, but they kind of did have the worst split of all time. So we're talking about things like, consistency. It doesn't really work. But there's one other player that I have to mention in this one, and it's TRK. For a lot of the reasons I've talked about TRK quite a lot already today with the adaptability. Yeah, TRK is ridiculously consistent for many years, kind of similar to First Killer. Like, doesn't matter who you put him on the pitch with, he is just gonna look like one of the best players in the world. Crazy consistency. He's been dominating MENA for how long? How many events has he won in MENA? Some insane amount. So yeah, he's been under a ton of pressure for a lot of his LAN. 20. Yeah, it just doesn't say 20 RLCS events. Yeah, he's been for large parts of his career carrying, just like Ahmad and Khaled were, just like the Twins are now. They're carrying the region on their backs. Ton of pressure. So many people, singing this region's praises and back home hoping for good results. And there's only one team at a lot of the events. This year there's two, so it's a little bit less pressure to be consistent. But in the past it was one. You're just the only team. You can't have a bad event, or else your whole region's had a bad event, and they were still able to be consistently competitive. So yeah, and consistently dominant in some cases. So yeah, I've got to say TRK. But okay, who is the consistency here? I can't pick Zen, I can't pick Itachi. So it's between Beast Mode, First Killer, TRK. We're picking different players every time. But I wouldn't even, I would still pick the same player regardless. Actually, in all the cases, I wouldn't have too much difficulty picking a different player every time, because these are all great options. Yeah, for me, it's got to be Beast Mode. Might be a little bit of recency bias in this one, but I don't think so. I think Beast Mode has been consistency for long enough that this isn't even recency bias. He's been consistent for seasons upon seasons. So I want to say Beast Mode for this one. He's Mr. Consistent right now, and he's been extremely consistently good for many, many years. Can't go wrong. So in summary, mechanics, Zen, I think that's easy. Game sense, Monkey Moon. I was between Monkey Moon and Itachi on that one, and I decided to go for Monkey Moon. Offensive skill, I went for Yan. I was between Yan and Kalirs on that. I went for Yan. Defensive skill, I went for Rawas. I was between Rawas and Daniel. I decided Rawas. Mental toughness, I think that was just Itachi. I wasn't really thinking between two players for this. But yeah, Zen mechanics, Itachi mental toughness, they were kind of just like the obvious choice for me. But yeah, game sense was either Monkey Moon, Itachi, Yan, or Kalirs for offense, Rawas, Daniel for defense. And then for adaptability, I wanted Seiko. Although I think all of the candidates for that one, I had Vatira, TRK, Atomic, and Appjack were all candidates. I think they're all great options. It's a super subjective one there. I decided to go for Seiko though. And then consistency, Beast Mode. Again, I don't think, maybe if I was allowed to pick Zen twice, he'd be in the conversation with Beast Mode. It would be one of them two. It would be Beast Mode or Zen. Or I guess Itachi again. He's been super consistent, hasn't he? But I mean, you can only pick them all once, and I do want to pick them. I want them all to be in my part of my perfect player. Right now, that is the perfect player. We got a South American, we got a MENA player, we got an American, and I think it just confirms I am indeed EU biased. We've got 4 French players, and none of them are Vatira, so obviously I'm incredibly biased. But yeah, you could easily put Vatira in there for adaptability. I think he's a good shout. In my opinion, I think he's a good option.